the artwork, we're good.
All right.
Speaking of being good, how about we do this? Good. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Rotary Club of St. Albert morning Zoom meeting number 1505 on May 14th, 2021. I'm your host, President Mark Dixon. Big shout out to our executive members, our board members present, fellow Rotarians. I didn't see a single guest. I think we scared them all off, but that's okay because we are going to sing standing, "Oh Canada." Brings a tear to my eye every time. And our land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that we are on Treaty 6 territory, traditional lands of First Nations and Métis peoples. As treaty people, Indigenous and non-Indigenous, we share the responsibility for the stewardship of this beautiful land. Our inspirational moment this morning is brought to you by Mr. Craig Mallon. Craig?
All right, so I thought I had something good, but then it turned out probably would have been that good. So then I think I'm just gonna go with the story that starts in a sweatshop, believe it or not, and it's a sweatshop in West Edmonton, owned by one Robert Gallant. And last Saturday, about a dozen or so Rotarians and one very dedicated Rotarian spouse came out to do a flag maintenance bee. So as you're all aware, the flag program runs every year. There's a few flags that need a little bit of love. So about a dozen or so of us went through, made some flags that needed some love look better, made some new flags for our ever-growing flag sales, etc. Took about 2.5 hours. So roughly 24 and a half, 30-ish person hours. All this is for what I think is our absolute slam dunk best fundraiser, the flag program. And we're about a week away from it. It involves some work, but every year it's always great to see the community flying our flags, flying the nation's flag in front of a number of lawns, especially the neighborhoods where they have just a row of flags. So that's one thing. But when I was in the Army, one of my second in command once, a fairly young guy asked me, "What drives you?" And I told him it's fear of failure. It was really fear of letting other people down. So evolving 10, 12 years from that, you could ask the same question of anyone, what drives you? But really it's people like our great fellow Rotarians and their giving ways. And you know, even though it was kind of a wet Saturday afternoon, taking time to put the time in for a fundraiser that really makes our community a better place. It's not fear of failure that really drives me. It's just being surrounded by such great people and being a part of that. So thank you, Rotarians. You continue to inspire me each and every week.
Thank you, Craig. We love you too, man. So I scanned the Zoom landscape. The only guest I could see is our very own Natalia, who's joining us without video, but audio this morning. She is here, and I think she deserves the welcome song. Everyone,
welcome to Rotary. Glad you are here. Come shake our hands and share a friendly cheer. Whether from near or whether from far, we hope that you will like a little song, because we'll sing about us in Albert, and you will agree.
our club
Enjoy some great camaraderie.
We do what we can to help with the needs of our community. With our friends at Rotary. With our friends at Rotary. Outstanding. No, can't. No, don't do that. There we go. So, without further ado, Daria, would you do the introduction of our special guest speaker this morning?
For sure. I don't think that this person needs a very long introduction. We all know him. We can all rely on him. And he's trusted so much that we have no idea what his presentation is going to be about. But here he is, and get ready for whatever Laz brings this morning.
Thanks, Daria. That always scares the crap out of me. But anyways. I noticed you put Lego in there, so just a quick thing. Yes, I do like Lego. I haven't used it very much lately. I have about 4 million pieces of it. There's a reason why I have an office building, and I'm hoping to start using it. And I'll just do a quick share of something here. You know, yes, I do like Lego. I do make things, but lately I haven't, so hopefully that'll change. Okay. Now, a lot of people ask me, what I'll be talking about today. This last year has been one of those years that there's a lot of stuff happening. I think we're all COVID fatigued, and I know there's a few of us still in COVID jail, like Ash and Anita, I see. There's some good news out of there from the US, and I just wanted to share that, and I'll share my screen here. And by the way, if people have questions, please just unmute yourselves and ask, because I prefer interaction. Anyways, the path to herd immunity. In the US, they had a lot higher incidence of COVID than we did. We're having a case here in Alberta, I suppose, but the big thing is their immunization rates are a lot higher than ours, and they're double immunizations. And so one of the things I discovered is that like this is just a chart of things happening in the US. The big thing to realize here is that this is the ICU cases during their waves, and this is their last wave here. You'll notice this is their third wave at Christmas, and since Christmas, immunization rates went through the roof. And between the immunizations and the people being sick and recovering, the ICU rates just fell off the cliff. So in all my studies of finance and everything else, one of the things we look at is, you know, what's happening in the global economy or global events. And the thing to realize is we're all going to get COVID. And I'm going to be pretty blunt here. We're all going to get sick with this thing. The question is, are you going to have natural immunity or are you going to have immunized immunity? The thing about immunized immunity is that like your chance, if you don't get immunized, you have a 2% chance or less of ending up in hospital. But if you get immunized, that chance goes down even further by 95% or 94%. So I'd rather be immunized and not be in the hospital, or take that chance. So this is what's happening in the US. And I think Anita and Ash, maybe you guys can speak to this, but the openness down there is a lot, like it's amazing how quick that happened. Same thing in the UK. Now, the one thing that kind of caught my attention is that last year we decided to spend a lot of money in Canada and the United States, and everybody went under lockdown. And Boy, this is odd when you're not able to talk to people here. Sorry. Okay, so on the economic side, does anybody know how much money was printed in Canada, United States? Just unmute and say something.
No.
All of it?
Okay.
Billions?
Billions. So I just want to give a perspective. Back in 2007, 2008, with the financial crisis, Harper was chastised for borrowing $53 billion. And the Bank of Canada had to help out there by doing $27 billion of printing. So if you can see my mouse here, I'm circling that number here. This was the Bank of Canada, and this is just the Bank of Canada response to COVID. They printed for the first time ever over 428 billion. So $500 billion. That doesn't compare to what the government had to borrow as well. So the US did the same thing. They printed $4 trillion. The Euro, the Japanese, the Chinese, everybody printed money. And what happens when you print money? This is, so I apologize for the charts. I'm a charts guy, but just to give you the numbers is what's important to me. In the US, 20% of the money they printed happened in last year, of all the money they print in the last 30 years. So these things are actually very interesting. There's a purpose for this. Last time we talked about demographics and the fact that there's a lot of us aging. There's a big group of millennials or Z generation coming up behind us in the United States, etc. But because we're all getting older, we're spending less, and basically what's happening is that's a deflationary thing. So they just basically killed deflation and set in course inflation coming forward to us. So that is something for all of us to be aware of and to prepare for. Now, this chart again, it's money supply. This goes back to the 1700s, all right? And I don't want to confuse people or get too detailed, but this is how much the US how much the US created during the Civil War. This is World War II. And the blue line on the bottom is the actual money printed by the Fed. You'll notice the financial crisis, and here's COVID. This is unprecedented amounts of cash. And when they said helicopter money, like the $2,000 that people got for CERB, or in the United States, they were getting money, this is helicopter money. So basically printed, deposit in your bank account, and go spend it. Now, I don't see the, so what do you think people do? Like, how many people do you think in the United States actually lost their jobs? Like, I know that people think, oh, it was a catastrophe, but a good 80% of people didn't lose their jobs. It's same thing in Canada. Many people actually had dual incomes. And so what I found is most people's savings rates in the United States and Canada went to the roof. So on the investment front, a lot of people had a lot of money. And so that causes all kinds of weird things to happen, like GameStop and Bitcoin and whatever else. Things just go through the roof because people are bored and they want to gamble, and they can't gamble at the local casino. They can't go to a football game. So they're all spending money differently. But I don't gamble like that. So my thing is, what do you do to protect yourselves long term? Because this is a long term event, short term for COVID, but long term in the sense that the amount of money created will cause some disruption, and you have to be prepared for this. So I got this from one of the companies I work with. So REITs are real estate, gold is gold, stocks, bonds, and cash. In the last 50 years, the best asset to own was real estate. Next would be gold, then stocks, bonds and cash are on the bottom. Now, the only reason why bonds are there, to be honest with you, is that in the last 30 years, interest rates have gone from 18 down to 0. Okay, so that in itself is something to be aware of. Bonds work opposite to what you think. When the rates are rising, bonds do very badly. Okay, So going forward, if you want to be conservative or safe with your money, bonds and cash is probably the last place you want to be. It's good for short-term protection, but long-term, it'll kill you. Real estate, so I'm a hard asset kind of guy. I own my house, I own my office building now. Property is good. If that's your stick, like I know, James, that you own a lot of real estate, but that's a business, and owning a business is also a good thing. So that's why the stocks are good. Gold's an insurance. Now, the reason I bring up owning stocks and things or companies is because even during, this is Germany. Remember when last year I brought all that money to Rotary and showed the devaluation? So this is Germany going from hyperinflation, printing a lot of money. The stock market in Germany, now mind you, you have to realize that if you're going to be owning companies, going through a depression is pretty tough to own things, okay? But Germany, even with the currency going to astronomical levels, the companies held on. And the reason is companies raise their prices with things going on. That's all. So you can imagine if inflation is hitting us in the next little while, like you saw your lumber prices and all these things, Home Depot just passes on that expense to you, and you have to suck up the cost. They're not going to suck up a 300% increase in lumber, right? So companies do adjust. The other thing is purchasing power, right? This is the actual purchasing power of your money over the last, from 1950. So $1 in 1950 is worth 9 cents today. In 2010, so not that long ago, $1 is now worth 84 cents. I'm going to hazard to guess that in 10 years from now, $1 will be worth maybe 75 or even 60 cents, because it's very much like the 70s. They have to print money. A lot of people were borrowing. The economy went ballistic, and inflation really kicked up. So there's only a few things one can do, and cash isn't one of them. If you want to hold cash, that's fine for a year. But if you're holding cash for year over year over year, you're gonna feel the pinch. The US was kind of no different. Now, I had a call from Bob McGinn yesterday. Bob was talking about, can you talk about Bitcoin? So I thought, okay, I'll talk a little bit about Bitcoin. I'm going to be blunt. I don't invest in Bitcoin. I don't know if I ever will. There's so much hype around it that it's frightening. So let me just go to this thing here. So just to give you a little idea, right now there's over 4,000 cryptocurrencies. This is in under 12 years. The top two are Bitcoin and Ethereum. A lot of us might have heard of Dogecoin, which is the biggest $60 billion joke I've ever seen in my life. It's created by two programmers as a joke, and then pumped up by a whole bunch of influencers. And so this thing went up as high as $80 billion in value in a matter of days, and is now sitting around 50 billion. But it's nothing to own. It's a total joke. But what really scares me is that cryptos now represent $2 to $3 trillion of world assets. So just think about this. In less than 3 years, it outpaced the total value of gold. Gold you can touch, you can use jewelry, it's in computers, it's actually a useful resource. A Bitcoin, I don't know what the heck it is. It's an unregulated, non-national asset, and that's kind of its plus. But I have a feeling that in the next couple of years, governments are going to say, you know what, this doesn't work. And they're going to create their own digital currencies. China's already done it, or starting to do it. And I can see a global cryptocurrency coming up, but it's going to be a regulated currency. Okay. Now, let's just talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a scarcity factor. So the maximum amount of coins ever created will be 21 million. So that's good. That tells you that you can't mint more than 21 million. But there's some serious concerns, right? One is it's extremely volatile. Basically, the whole point of having a currency is to store value. So if you want to go buy a car and your coin just dropped 20,000 like it did in the last 2 days, that's not a good store of value. Here's the one thing that really caught my attention and most people don't know about. So when people talk about inequality and stuff, Bitcoin, of all the coins minted right now, 95% of them are controlled by 2.4% of accounts. So think about that. You know, in the United States, they say the top 10 people own 20, 30, whatever the percentage is of United States assets. In Bitcoin, it's 2.4 control most of it. So that is extremely dangerous. And the other thing is 20% of all Bitcoins have been lost. So that's another interesting little factoid. So basically, if you forget your code, your passcode, you are out of luck. Now, I say Bitcoin's unregulated. That's kind of a plus and a minus. But the big thing with Bitcoin is that if you lose your passcode, like if you lose your passcode to your bank account, you can call the bank and they'll help you out. If you if there's a charge outstanding on your Visa that you don't agree with, you can call your bank. With Bitcoin, if something happens, somebody steals it, or you lose your passcode, there's no 1-800 number. You're on your own. It is unregulated. So this is another serious concern of most cryptos. Now there are exchanges now, but now you're paying somebody a fee to manage your Bitcoin. And so that's, again, contrary to what Bitcoin came out for. But that's interesting too. Now here's the more recent one, and I've attended a few conferences on this. Crypto mining and Bitcoins is a huge environmental footprint. So get this, 60% of Bitcoin is mined in China, and most of that is mined using electricity from coal-fired plants. So suddenly you realize, wait a minute, this is not environmentally friendly. So a couple of months ago, Elon Musk said, yeah, you can buy a Tesla with Bitcoin, and he jumped on the bandwagon. 2 days ago, he goes, I misspoke. We're not accepting Bitcoins anymore. And that's why Bitcoin fell dramatically yesterday. He goes, this is not a good environmental footprint. So Bitcoin works a little differently than most things. Like if you use your Visa card, you buy something, a transaction goes to the central processing unit, whatever you call it, and money is transacted. With Bitcoin, when you do a transaction, even a minor one, it has to be recorded on every computer that's running software. So if you're looking 20 million computers running the software to record this is the blockchain technology, that's how much power is being used. It's insane.
Les, I've got a question about Elon Musk and Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So just a few days ago, maybe last week, he was on the news about Dogecoin, one that he started as a bit of a joke and a gag.
Yeah.
And he's got something like $20 billion in it.
In Dogecoin?
Something like that. I don't remember the exact. It was crazy amount of money he had in there, because he started it, right?
Well, he didn't start Dogecoin. It was two programmers.
Yeah, but he got involved with it somehow. They were saying on the news. I'm not sure how, but isn't there a correlation there that he's now not accepting Bitcoin because he's involved in that other one? It seems weird to me.
Well, I never heard that, but let's put it this way. Dogecoin was invented by two guys programming it as a joke. It was not meant to be anything else, because it literally has a dog on the damn coin, right? So it was a guy's puppy as a coin. It has no value, and so to me, value is only what people pay. And I have tulips and ice for any of you that want to buy it, and it's $1 million. I just don't understand that, right? Now, quickly back on the environmental front with Bitcoin, for every $1 billion that flow into Bitcoin, the amount of energy consumed is equal to 1.2 million gas-powered cars on the road. So just give that a thought. Or the other one is, let me just read this one. The network handling the Bitcoin network emits 60 million tons of carbon dioxide, or equal to the country of Greece per year. So Bitcoin is not like this. As much as people want to jump on the bandwagon, and I'm sorry, but I think that last year when people got their helicopter money, a lot of, like even my son, I looked at his Wealth Simple or whatever account, I'm going, you bought Ethereum or whatever else. So because they have money to burn, people just throw $1,000 at this, and guess what? It pushes up the value. It's quite scary. this is one that really surprised me, is many of the miners of Bitcoins and crypto are in countries not friendly to Western nations. So think North Korea, China, Iran, Russia, they all mine Bitcoin. So by buying Bitcoin, you're actually indirectly supporting these countries. So I have a theory, but maybe it's just a theory. But the more people buy Bitcoin, the more the governments are scared to shut it down because the money is going to countries that can cause a lot of damage. It's just a thought. Now, some of the positives, like this is where I can't argue with this thing. Since 2011, Bitcoin's up over 20 million%. How do you argue with that? Like, I can't imagine people arguing with people buying tulips back in the 1700s. This tulip is worth 1 million, whatever it was. If people want to know more about that, just research tulips and the tulip craze of the whatever decade or century that was. But you can't argue with that. People actually are making money. So that causes a lot of angst. It's called fear of missing out. Again, scarcity. So Bitcoin is a scarce resource. And so one of the investment firms I deal with, they actually researched this, and he was able to actually chart the price of Bitcoin to the scarcity factor of the coin. And so we're in 2021, we're right here. The coin it's between 24 to 62,000. That's exactly where we're at. It can fluctuate higher and lower, but over the time, this chart has been matching from day one from 2010. It's phenomenal. And you'll see this actually out there now, his research. But interesting enough, he'll say the Bitcoin will be worth 150,000 by 2024 and 500,000 by 2025. Now, this could also be the inflationary factor. I don't know. Yeah, Jackie, you said fear of missing out. I'm just looking at some of the comments here. Don't lose it, yeah. All right. Now, again, so the thing about cryptos, who's going to adopt the currency? So if you have companies like Elon Musk and whatever else starting to accept Bitcoin, that then it gives it some form of verification. But he suddenly said no. And that's interesting. So the biggest danger, I think, for all of us is they start to regulate and start realizing that you can't tax this stuff. And even the CRA is now actually, if you have Bitcoins, you must claim them. So if you think that you can not claim your 2 Bitcoins you got when you're 2010 that are now worth $100,000, think again. They are looking actively at you paying tax on this stuff. So this then takes the beauty of it away, I suppose, but it's happening. And the last things I want to talk about is there's no restrictions. Anyone can use your Bitcoins. And the lack of regulation does create, like, there's no cost to using Bitcoin. Like, if you, the blockchain technology behind it, the blockchain technology behind it is quite intriguing. Like, if you wanted to sell property, what does it take? You need a lawyer, you need to sell it, go to the bank, get a mortgage, all these things. Well, blockchain technology says that John Smith owns this property, and you just did a transaction to sell a verified property online, and you take over, and all the computers now list you as the owner of that property. That has a lot of value and cuts out a lot of middlemen. So the blockchain technology behind Bitcoin and all the cryptos is very valuable. And I think that's where things will change. I think governments will start issuing their own cryptos because you need to control this thing. And that's what I've got. Does anybody have any questions? Unmute yourselves.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mining Bitcoin, I'm of the seniors age. Mining means shovel and digging. What is actual mining Bitcoin?
So in the beginning and to this day, mining was a program on your computer. Like, Bitcoin had a mathematical model behind it. And it's invented by somebody that they really actually don't know who it is. So the program was running in the background of your computer, and every once in a while it would find a solution to this mathematical problem, and you were issued a Bitcoin. Now, as more and more Bitcoins came about, the mining process, the computer program required more and more time and energy. And so now you have farms, and I'm not talking one computer. I'm talking, thousands of computers with high-end video cards, with high-end processors, mining, looking for mathematical numbers to mine your Bitcoin. So does that answer your question, Ed?
Close.
Laszlo, can I touch a Bitcoin?
No.
I think that may have been where Ed was going. If you can't touch it, I'm trying to get that correlation between the environmental impact, because I would have got the impression that there are shovels in the ground in China pulling that out. That's not.
I see.
Yeah. So I think
Well,
that's where Ed is at.
Mining here is computer intensive and power intensive.
Yeah. Okay.
So basically, the thought was Bitcoin is attached to a wind farm or a solar farm or maybe a nuclear power plant. Who the heck knows? That's the vision, but that's not what's happening, right? If you can make $60,000 in China off mining a Bitcoin, burning coal, which is free, pretty much, you're going to do it. Iran had to actually shut Bitcoin miners down because they were consuming so much power, they were causing brown and blackouts in the country. Okay. So this is interesting, right? Like there's a point where you're spending so much energy to produce a coin that it's no longer worth it, but it still is because the price is going up, so people continue to do it. But the environmental impact is exponential. It's more than some countries use in a year. It's crazy.
Other questions for Laszlo?
Yeah.
I think you just reinforced my thoughts about Bitcoin.
Kathy, you say the largest Bitcoin mine is in Medicine Hat? Maybe for Canada. So
sorry, if I didn't say in Canada, I meant to, but.
Yeah, well, that's not tough. Like for Canadians to build a Bitcoin mine, you'd have to have thousands of computers running thousands of video cards. And we're not talking the cheap video cards. Like the one I'm talking about is $3,000.
Yeah. So when they were setting up, they looked for cheap electricity because of that. Yeah.
But what purpose does it serve Medicine Hat? So all this solar energy, all these panels that you had to mine out of the ground are now being used to mine something that, like it's to me it's offensive, but it's the fad. And back to the economy stuff, the amount of money printed, this is where a lot of money went to, and I'm not kidding. I just feel like it's going to end badly. Now, something that people don't understand, does anybody know what happened 200 years ago with solar flares?
Yeah.
Killed the dinosaurs.
Solar flares, 200 years ago, not...
I wasn't there, but I'm sure Charlie knows.
So let me put it to you this way. Every couple of 100 years, the sun does go through a cycle, and I take a lot of Northern Lights pictures. So for those of you who've seen my pictures, that's solar flares. But every 200 years, a massive flare tends to hit Earth. And if I remember the stories back in the 1800s, the copper lines, the Morse code, all that stuff was catching on fire. Now, if everything is electronic, and I'm not trying to be negative here, I love solar flares, but if everything suddenly got blown out, all your cryptos are gone, right? So there's other issues here. It's amazing to me. What is it here? So Ed, you have a friend that put 50,000 into Bitcoin mining, 3 servers. So okay, so Ed, unmute yourself. What happened there?
Well, it's just starting. Lassie, he actually won one of those scratch tickets, $150,000 on a lottery ticket, and he contacted me and it's like, what should I do? And I tried to give him some, advice, some financial planning advice, and somebody has said, oh, Bitcoin, and so they went out and bought all this computer equipment. I heard last, it's 50,000 at this point, and he's going to set up in his garage and try to, get rich on Bitcoin. And I pointed out to him, I said, listen, buddy, I know, quote, electricity seems cheap, but when you start running that system, and you get in the winter in Alberta, I said, I don't know what that's going to, cost you. And I don't know, I'm assuming at some point he'll be able to mine the coin, but yeah, it's short-sightedness, and it honestly is a fad. And long and short of it, it's like a Ponzi scheme, because the value is built upon people wanting it. If people stop wanting it, whoever they are, if some, the minute if people stop wanting it, the stuff becomes worthless. There's no underlying asset.
Correct. And the risk is actually suddenly governments say you can't run your computer draining $1,000 a month on power, or they regulate and say we're creating our own cryptos and everything else will become illegal. And I see a comment there from Jody that her son built a $4,000 computer and her electricity bill is $300 every month. Well, if I was a son, and are you charging him rent, Jody? Because right now it's free power to him, and it's terrible, right? So you may want to charge him rent, or take a percentage of his take at 30%.
Yeah, I kicked him up to the farm to go do some farm work for the spring.
Good, real mining.
Any other questions for Laszlo?
I would suggest too that what is value, whatever people hold value of currency. So that's all our dollar is currently. So is what will people eventually value?
Correct.
So if that, right, what is a paper value, right? Yeah. It's not backed by anything either, right? So where are we going? And then I would say with the solar flare, that's going to screw everything up anyway, whether we're Bitcoin or not Bitcoin. I mean, no ATVs, no power, no phones, no cells, she's going to be a good time, Charlie, man. Then we're all going out to the farm.
No, I agree. So it's just interesting that we're becoming more and more tech. We're attached to our technology, and unfortunately, that's the first thing. If that goes down, we are hooped. Whereas back in the 80s, when the power went out, nobody cared. You just went to your freezer and started using the food, right? That was the goal.
But could you imagine though, if really the solar flare happened? That means no gas. The gas is shut off. You can't go to the gas station. You can't transact. You can't make calls. Correct. I mean, she's going to be a mess up. If it's 30 below in the winter time.
Yeah,
it is though already.
Yeah. No, it's interesting, right? But back on the value of your dollar bill, it's accepted. I get it. It is fiat currency, right? So again, that's why I'm a big believer of hard assets. You should have your house. You should own your house. You should have some other hard assets. A business, in a way, is a hard asset because it's your effort going in, a farm, etc. All these things. Anita?
I just think, Laz, that I'm way too old for this stuff. Somewhere along the way, it bypassed me, but you've done a great job of explaining it. And I know that what you've said is real, but it's way out there and invisible. So stay away from Bitcoin.
Well, it's amazing that in less than 12 years, this happened so quickly. And this is the kinds of things we have to adjust. I think the older we are, the less we have to worry about it, actually. The younger you are, you have to worry about this stuff, really.
The old adage, it's too good to be true, usually pans out, right?
Yeah.
What was that, Principal Group, and what was the other one at the time?
Yeah, Northwest or North. Yeah.
And people lost their fortunes and their retirements.
Exactly.
Enron.
But the question is
the other one. Yeah.
But what about if you were early adopters of Amazon or Facebook or all of those other ones, when you could see that there was a change in industry disruption, that you were in on something that was actually going to be one of those? And I'm not saying, Bitcoin is that Amazon or that whatever, but I mean, there's some big changes.
Just sell.
On the Amazon front, James. Okay, so all these tech companies, a lot of us, I've been in the investment business now for 30 plus years. And so the 1990s, the late 90s was the dot-com era. So Amazon, eBay, all these things. It took 15 years after the correction of 2001 for Amazon to even come back to its pre-crash levels. So the early adopter, you can cash in on it, but then there's usually a consolidation phase. So right now there's 4,000 plus Bitcoins, 4,000 cryptos more on the way. This is like the early adopters of cars back in the 1900s. There was 100, 200 different car companies. Only a few survived. So if you can catch the initial wave, good, you'll be a millionaire, maybe. But people that are putting their money in now, this is when the correction occurs. And so as the governments are stopping the money printing and everything else, I question what will happen. Again, I'm just a hard asset kind of guy. I like to own things that I can touch, feel, and live in, and I'll be okay. So
We have a final question for Laszlo. I'm not seeing any. So Laszlo, thank you very much.
Thank you
For your presentation, engaging conversation, and also thank you for stepping in at the last minute to fill a gap that we had. As a thank you for your presentation today, we will be making a Bitcoin contribution to the Lego Foundation. Thank you kindly. Reports and announcements. Community services update. We're going to start with that, if you wouldn't mind, Doug.
Thank you, President Mark. The Community Services Committee met last night, and on the agenda was a consideration about what would be our Rotary Club's response to the St. Albert Citadel Mews fire. Actually, we had a great meeting, and I wanted to let the club know that we are actually going to meet next week in order to follow up on several very creative and interesting ideas. But I think first what I would want to tell you is that we also had agreed that it was best for the Rotary Club at this point, and as suggested by the mayor and others, to sit back and wait and to see what kind of response would be of greater benefit. And so a couple of things that we're looking into, ideas that came up from the group, was the perhaps just mostly mental health things. One would be sending a card to the residents, just a goodwill card. We're looking at putting our mosaic Louis Lavoie on the cover, and a group of Rotarians would write handwritten messages of encouragement. We're going to engage our Interact and Rotaract group to take a look at and get their suggestions that maybe we might somehow recognize the bravery of those 3 young teenagers that dropped their hamburgers at McDonald's and ran across the street to help evacuate. We're going to contact and chat with the YMCA daycare that was in the facility that burned, and just check out and see how they're doing. And so these are a number of items that we're looking at. How can we use our flags? In other words, in recognition. So we are on top of it, and we will meet next Thursday to put together a plan for the club. So that's where we're at now. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate that. There was a cleanup bee. Craig spoke to this already. Also want to do a shout out to those club members who painted poles at their houses and brought those to the shop. Flag program sales. Laz, can you give us an update on this, please?
Yeah, so we're sitting at roughly 545 flags. The cutoff is tomorrow because the last thing I need to do is keep hitting more flags over the next few days. I'll be working on the lists, and I need people to volunteer for delivery. So please send me the people who want to deliver. We really need your help. We want to start delivering Monday to Wednesday and have it up. So that's kind of our goal.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
That's Monday, this Monday, the 17th.
The 17th. Okay, good. Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah.
We are doing frontline workers recognition from the on the 25th and 26th. This is something that Fern is coordinating. We're putting out flags on the property of the hospital and the 3 fire stations, plus the RCMP headquarters with the thank you frontline workers. We also talked about extending that to other seniors communities. So lots of discussion going on around that. Our fireside chat is coming up on the 26th at noon. The safe scavenger hunt is happening on the 6th. So if you haven't signed up for a vehicle yet.
No, that's the wrong date. It's the 5th.
Okay, thank you. Did you have any other updates for that, Charlene?
If you haven't registered, get registered so you can compete with the farting whatever that's registered, or the double trouble, or there's going to be some good family competition out there. Get your cars registered.
Thank you, Charlene. And June 5th. So I apologize for that typo. Rib Fest is coming up on June 11th to 13th. And there was a call out from Adrian for that community to come together. Meetings coming up. Meetings have been happening with the Rib teams and with St. Albert Mall. Things are moving along quite nicely. Integrity Awards, James.
Yeah, I sent an email out to the club just to register for we sponsored John Liston for our Integrity Award, and that's happening this Monday at 6 o'clock. So I went and seen him out of his office and gave him the award, picked it up. So official, unofficial, there it is. He was quite honored and happy. He'll be saying a few words, and there's 18 other recipients. So it's a great lineup, and it should be very good. That's happening on Monday.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. I don't know if you can see this slide now. I'm gonna go back to there. There we go. So covered all of that. Any other announcements at this point?
I think Jody had something relevant in chat.
Yeah, I just wanted to let people know the district insurance changed like 18 months ago, and a bunch of exclusions on there, including Rib Fests, Oktoberfest, public liquor sales, music festivals, stages, things like that. So there's there was a slight savings by changing the insurance, but there's a bunch of exclusions. So we will have to go out and get a separate insurance policy for that. I mean, we are looking at the insurance to redo it for this coming year, starting July 1st, but anything up until July 1, we're not covered. So just as a FYI for any committee chairs or anybody doing some events, just double check with the district or even with myself. I have a copy of the policy. So you insurance nerds might want to read through it. It's a Lloyd's of London policy. So there's about 243 pages of small fine print, and about 150 of those are exclusions.
Thank you, Jody. Appreciate that update.
Hey,
Any
Mark.
other announcements?
Yeah, one Mark, if you don't mind. Is Ed
Yeah.
Hunt here?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, just a reminder to everybody, haven't talked to Jason the last couple of days, but just with the Rotary sign program, it would be a great time if you haven't got your sign yet. With the flag deliveries upcoming, we might be able to piggyback off of some of that. Don't want to make it too complicated, but if you haven't got your sign yet, let us know, and we can see if we can incorporate it into the flag delivery program. Just piggyback and get you your signs.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Ed. Any other announcements? Hearing none, our next morning meeting, May 21st, is the Honorable Nathan Cooper, Speaker of the Legislative Assembly of Alberta. Birthdays and anniversaries. Has Natalia landed somewhere? I know she was having troubles again.
I have her here.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
We have birthdays, anniversaries. We have Ken McRae, May 15th, Douglas Hanson, May 19th, anniversaries. We have Terry Cook, 34 years, May 16th. Dave Pickering, 18 years, May 17th. Laszlo, 26 years, May 20th. And we have Ian Soder joined the Rotary for 2 years on May 17th. Congratulations.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mission Control. Ian Soder, 2 years on May the 17th. Way to hang in there, buddy. Straight to president. Gotta love that. And that's that. Sergeants at Arms. Gentlemen, if you would, please.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Good, good. It's good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you as well. Looks like you're on your porch.
Yeah, it's summertime, so we got to get our 2 weeks in.
Yeah, I hear you. That's nice.
Yeah, you got a game for us today.
I do, but you know what though? I kind of I forgot to remind people. We kind of dropped off in participation. We had 12, and then people's money ran out. We have 5 people now.
Ooh, well, odds are better.
Yeah, odds are better for those people. So woo. Yeah, so here we go. I get my handy spreadsheet here.
Hold on, Mark, is it too late for me to join?
Oh, yes. You can join, sure. Just send the money. I'll just wait.
No. All right, fire away.
Okay, so we have 5 people. Is Natalia on the phone? Can she hear me? No, Laura? We don't need to make it complicated. Okay, so between, we're gonna get 2 people. So we have here, I'll take, I don't think Scott's on the phone, is he? No, I don't think so. So we're down to really 4. So Jerry,
Who are the 5 people?
The 5 people, we have Anita and Scott and Jerry and Daryl.
Okay.
Did I miss someone? No.
Okay.
So really, I'd say Jerry and Daryl was in last week. So Anita, you and Jerry. So in honor of Laz's presentation about money, the first person to give me a Canadian 25 cents.
Oh, where's my coin? Where's my 25 cents?
$20, Doug. You're not
25 cents.
I can't see.
I got it.
You got it? Is it Canadian though, Anita? I know you're in the States.
Yeah, I got a Canadian one. Come on.
I got it.
I got it.
I just see John.
I got it.
I got it.
It's
Jerry was first for sure.
Jerry had
Jerry
his
is
up
first.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Way to go, Jerry, on scavenger hunt 50-50. You won $10. Way to go, Jerry. So a reminder, I'll send out Nina, but if you want to participate in this really fascinating, intriguing game, let me know and send me some money.
Anita, can we ask you to mute yourself? It keeps skipping over to you and I can't hear Mark. Awesome. Thank you, Anita. You're the best.
So that's scavenger hunt 50-50. What else? I mean,
All right,
Friday's
well,
over. Let's go.
Why don't we? Well, first off, I want to give a shout out to Ed Hunt and Charlene Zoltanko. You're the only 2 people who sent money for your Happy Bucks and fines last week. So you didn't send me anything. No, you didn't. She says she did. She didn't. So I want to say thank you to you 2. You're awesome. The rest of you, well, I love you all. So why don't we start with some happy moments? I'm going to stop calling them happy bucks because people don't pay the bucks. So happy moments from people, please. Who do we have? Kathy's got her hand up. So anyone else? Anyone? Anyone? Who's happy today? All right, fine, you can go.
I have 2. I'll send you $10. 2 happy bucks. Jackie will remember this well. On Monday this week, we had a meeting with the Youth Advisory Committee here in St. Albert, and we were talking about the stress of the pandemic, and they were all very eager to get vaccinated. But their chair of that committee is a young girl named Studi, and she's moved to Canada 5 years ago. She's from India, and she remembered very well getting her polio vaccine. buy drops in her school. And I don't know if that was Rotary doing the vaccination program in her school in India, but she remembers it very well, and she remembered it very fondly. So that's my first happy buck. And my second happy buck is a cheers to me, just because I gave my 50th blood donation on Wednesday. And actually, and the other nice thing was there was 2 Rotarians there with me. John came and we ran into Lynn Charwa. So the Rotarians are doing their part to give blood, and I'm just celebrating myself for 50 donations. That's all I got.
That's awesome. Who else out there is happy? What a miserable bunch of people this week.
I've
Is
got
no
one.
happy? Ian,
I've
what do
got
you
one. So I need to hear back if I had one last week, because I did not send you cash. So can you let me know about that, first of all? And then I get to launch my boat this weekend, and it's earlier than normal, and it's warm outside. So I'm super pumped about that. So yay for summer.
Fantastic, Ian. Congrats. I know you're going to have fun on the boat this year. Laura, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I officially get the vax tomorrow. And even though I'm terrified of needles and will cry anyway, this time there will probably also be happy tears. And I'll gladly take it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a little needle. You'll be fine. Yeah,
Well,
and you'll
I
get
have a
much
happy
better
buck.
5G reception. So
I
Your
have a
dad
happy
cried,
buck.
Laura.
My 12-year-old got, or 11-year-old got her shot there yesterday.
that is awesome. Who else is happy today? All right, well, I'm going to throw $10 in myself because I've got 2 happy reasons. The first is I am finally today getting rid of these. I'm getting my laser surgery this afternoon. So no more glasses for John. I'll actually be able to read the shampoo bottles, so my hair might get clean. And the other thing is I bought a motorcycle last night. So Craig already knows that. Hands up.
Take it easy on the turns.
Yes, Mom.
Where's the picture, John? Let's see it.
I don't have a picture with me. Yeah, next week.
What is it?
It's a Yamaha Tracer 900. So it's
Nice.
an upright touring bike, but not a Goldwing. It's smaller. It's more for, bombing around town, that sort of thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a gong show trying to get one. I sold mine a few weeks ago for twice what I paid for it and went, this is great, and then realized there was nothing else on the market. So it's been fun. So those are my happy bucks. Do we have any last call? Anyone? Going once? Going twice? I'm going to jump into fines then. Now we're on Kathy's laptop, so I don't know how to do screenshots, so I don't have my usual fines. But what I will say is, O Canada this morning, there's a whole bunch of people that turn their cameras off immediately before. So for those of you who did that, you get a fine. I saw Jill did not stand up. I saw that Anita did not stand up. And Jody, I don't know if you stood up or not. You're short, it's hard to tell. But I'm pretty sure you didn't, did you?
I was late. I was late standing up, so.
Okay, so we'll hit you for that one too. Mark, do you have any fines you want to hand out?
I was not really paying attention and looking for fines, so I don't have any.
No? Okay.
And also too nice. I don't like finding people.
No, you are too nice. Yeah. Okay, do we have any fines from the floor then? Wow, you are really a docile group today. You're not happy, you're not angry at each other. It's just this hum of smoothness. So with that, I think we're done, Mark. Anything else we want to cover?
No, I think we're good for today.
Fantastic. Well, everyone have a great weekend. Enjoy the sunshine.
John, John, quick question. Are we allowed to pay our fines with Bitcoin?
Yes, you are. If you want to send me 5 Bitcoin, you can do that. Yeah. Sandra.
I have a fine.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking I'd like to fine Mark Moran because he said that there were only 4 people on the game, but he sent out an email on February the 1st that because people kept asking him, how long do I have to run out? And he's got a whole list of people that he said don't run out until August, July.
Yeah, mine was July.
Yeah, I thought I was good till July.
Like, whole list of people that he said, don't worry about it, guys.
Yeah.
Is it fair to all concerned, Mark, right?
Yeah.
Nice Ponzi scheme you got going there, Mark.
Because I'm lining my pockets.
I think there's lots of people like, I would have sent you money if I knew I'd run out. But this email you sent told a whole bunch of us that we didn't run out yet. I'm actually going to forward it to you so you have it.
Sure.
Forward it to the whole group.
We need an audit
Fair to all concerned.
on the account.
Hey,
We need an audit, you guys.
Yeah, you know what? I appreciate that Mark's been very, very busy with the festival. He did an amazing job as the operations guy with that. So I'm going to pay the $5 fine for you, but I am going to send this to you so you have the email that you sent out to everybody.
I think that's my favorite fine for quite a while.
Don't mess with Sandra.
You cannot pass anything by here, accounting wise.
Fantastic. I think we got to end with that, Mark. That's totally a high note. We're not going to beat that one.
Stop.
I love it. I love it.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks.
Remember, we are on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. I want to give a shout out to Charlene and Doug Campbell because they are social media machines. They are sharing, they are retweeting, they are liking. It's like, if you're looking for somebody to show you how to do it, then just check them out. These meetings, as you know, are on YouTube, and people are getting more engaged on Slack, so that's great. So thank you, Laz, for your presentation this morning. Very much appreciate that. Craig, for your inspirational moments, John and Mark, and Natalia for hanging in there. If you need support, please, for yourself or someone else, don't hesitate to reach out. Lynn King is our amazing caring coordinator. There's many online resources, and don't just ask, how are you? Ask, how are you really? Please join me in the four-way test of the things
All
we
the
think,
things we think,
say, and do.
is the
Is it
truth.
the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Will it be fun?
Fun.
Everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Have
Have
a
a
great
great
rest of your
weekend.
day.
Ciao.
Amazing weekend.
Yeah. Have a
Catch
great
you
weekend.
next time.